Faculty, I think we want to turn the mic up just a little bit. Again, good morning and welcome to Butler County High School. We'd like to, on behalf of Butler County Schools, faculty, staff, and students, like to welcome everyone out to our Butler County Salute Our Veterans annual program. We're deeply honored to have those veterans that are here with us today and their family. And we want to say a heartfelt thank you for the service that these men and women have done for our country as we recognize and celebrate and salute them this day. Because it's these men and women who, through their service, protect as far as the liberties, protect the freedoms and stuff that we have each and every day that we wake up that sometimes we take for granted. And as we go through today's program, I just invite everyone to reflect on those services and stuff that they do that protect as far as our liberties and stuff as we honor them and show appreciation for all that they do. At this time, would everyone please stand for the parading of colors by the NJROTC under the direction of Commander Harry Phelps and Master Chief Bill Vermillion. After which, the Butler County High School student, Jay Peralta, will sing, or not sing, but he will lead us in, you don't want to sing today, do you, Jay? Okay. He's going to lead us in our Pledge of Allegiance. Then the Butler County High School Choir will sing our national anthem. Please remain standing after the parading of colors because our chamber choir will then sing My Old Kentucky Home. And we'll go to that point in the program.
Forward, march. Solemn right, march. Left, 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 right. Ready, hold. Left, face. Present, go.
Attention, salute, pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Now you may be seated. Now you may be seated. Thank you.
Before you?
Yeah, it's me. Yeah.
Okay.
Students at every school within the Butler County School District are participating in this year's Veterans Day program today. Brother Brian Jones, pastor of Aberdeen Baptist Church, will now lead us in our invocation.
Let's pray, you all. Lord, we do want to come to you today, and Lord, it's been so good to be in this place today already, Lord. Lord, this day means to us all, Lord, to hear these songs sung, Lord, about our state, about our nation, Lord, and what it means to us, Lord. Lord, today, these veterans who were here, Lord Jesus, the ones that, Lord, we know have paid so much, Lord, to keep us free, Lord. God, may those things, Lord, be so dear to our hearts and lives, God, no matter how old or how young we may be, God. May we always hold those things dear, Lord, knowing that a great price was paid, Lord, to keep us free. I thank you, Lord, today for what this means to our hearts and lives, God, this service, God, that may also be pleasing unto you, God, as we bring honor and glory to all these ones who have served throughout the years. God, continue to bless our nation, Lord. Lord, bless those who serve even today, God. Protect them, Lord, in a mighty way. And God, once again, we do praise you and we do love you. That's my prayer, and amen.
Mrs. Jennifer Odell is our next presenter. You can find her throughout the year helping coordinate programs and supporting issues related to our local veterans. Today, she will be recognizing some very deserving students who participated in a program sponsored by our VFW number 1298 Auxiliary, the Writing and Art for Heroes contest. Would you please help me welcome Ms. Jennifer Odell.
Good morning. First of all, I want to thank every one of the students that entered this. We had a tough time trying to judge this art and the writing. That was the teachers, they did that. We didn't, we did the art. So their art is going to be displayed as their name is called, because everybody wants to see it, so we can do that this year, and we thank all of you. All right, we got 5th grade, Morgantown Elementary School. Honorable mention is Talon Roth. Please come down when your name is called. Next is Finn Taylor, 2nd place. First place is Jadzella Garcia Cruz. Now we have 5th grade North Butler, 3rd place Ava Elmore. Second place is Harmony Dixon. Please come down. First place is Ava Miller. All right, we have 6th grade. 3rd place, Ari Rife. She's done. Okay, 2nd place, Eliza Lynch. I don't think the 6th grade here. And then 1st place was Harper Hack. Now for 8th grade art, we have an honorable mention, Juana Mendoza Alonso. Third place is Shelby McDaniel. This is 8th grade. Oh my. 2nd place is Layla Adams. Not here? Okay, they're at the top. Give them a few minutes to get in. And if Charlie Webster, she's 1st place, we'll try to move down too. We'll move on to 10th grade. Honorable mention is Harley Chapman. Third place is Mackenzie Turner. Second place is Enzo Sublet. First place is Ellie McIntosh. Next is 11th grade. Third place is Brandon Farler. Second place is Lydia Raphael. First place is Audrey Logston. we called it, okay. 12th grade, Briley Jones, 3rd place. Second place is Agnes Cote. And first place goes to Ashley Neighbors. We'll let them get caught up. Okay. Now, our Buddy Poppy Good Citizens this year, I don't think they're here, is Cheyenne Givens, Jameson Millage, Ava Miller, Drew Stokes, Remington Beasley, and Graceland Evans. Honorable mention was Grayson Amos, Tegan Pettigo, and Finn Taylor. They're here? Okay, good. Right here, honey. Hey, woohoo, woohoo, come back. Right here. All right, next is Writing for Veterans. 8th grade, 3rd place, Felix Francisco. Second place, Jay Peralta. And first place is Mark Gruber. They're coming down. They're way up top. Here they come. In 10th grade, we only had one entry, so it's first place, Harley Chapman. Not here. 11th grade, honorable mention is Casey Sutherland. Third place is Braden Phelps. Second place is Braden Clark. First place is Taylor Smith. You got two coming down from the top. I'll go ahead with the 12th grade, and you can be making your way here. Third place is Landon Conyer. Second place is Riley Jones. And first place is Brooklyn Kimball. Once again, we thank everyone for their entries. They're getting harder and harder to judge, but our criteria is how you display the flag, draw the flag. It has to be accurate. If it's not even looked at. So remember that if you join next year. Thank you.
A little later in the program, we are going to be honoring each veteran that is in attendance today. If you are a veteran here today and you were not able to sign in at the registration table this morning, would you please raise your hand now and we will come to your seat so that we can get your name added at this time.
Our local veterans of foreign wars Post 5837 and the American Legion Post 0151 support veterans throughout the year in many different capacities, from providing resources to drawing attention to veteran-related issues. Today, Andrew Gickham, commander of the VFW Post 5837 Auxiliary, will introduce us to one very special veteran of the year.
Good morning. Before we get started this morning, I would like to recognize a man that needs no introduction, Congressional Medal of Honor recipient, Mr. Don Jenkins. Sir, will you stand? Second, because I'm here, I'd like to recognize my personal hero and my father, a proud Army veteran. Please, sir, stand. Next, as a father, I'd like to recognize my daughter, who is currently serving in the United States Navy in Seattle, Washington, Brianna Gidcombe. Brianna, say hi to everybody. Thank you. Love you. Now if I can figure out how to turn this thing off. Okay. Thank you. Now, ladies and gentlemen and fellow comrades, the reason I am here this morning. When I took over as commander of the VFW, my first thought was, how am I going to lead men that I only want to follow? I was quickly shown that we are one team, one brotherhood, with one focus to serve this community. I've always believed that the most important team is the one that you are on, and we have an amazing team. This year's VFW Veteran of the Year has shown me what it means to be a true volunteer in the community. He has been patient with me, he has worked with me, and I have asked him a million questions about how to do everything in the post. And not one time has he ever not helped me. This man has done so much for this community. Very few do not understand what all he has done. It is my honor to give this year's VFW Veteran of the Year Award to retired Senior Chief, Senior Vice Commander, Mr. Brian Ferris. Thank you all.
Each year, the Daughters of the American Revolution choose specific veterans to honor for their service as well. This year, Regent Deborah Worley will tell us about the Butler County DAR Veteran of the Year.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Deborah Worley, and I am here to represent the Butler County chapter of the NSDAR. I'm going to tell you today a little bit about a very special veteran. As President John F. Kennedy once said, "Ask not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country." And Bobby Eskew is a man who truly believed in those words. He was born in Sheffield, Alabama in 1932. In 1949, he joined the Alabama National Guard. In 1950, he moved to Huntsville, Kentucky. And in January of 1951, he was called by the Alabama National Guard for active duty. He completed his basic training at Fort Jackson in South Carolina. In the fall of 1951, he deployed to Korea. He spent 10 months on the front line in heavy combat. 2 months he fought on the front line were on the hill of 1062, and he also spent time on Bloody Ridge and Punch Bowl Hill, which were two famous bloody battles. Bobby earned 4 medals, 2 Bronze Stars. He was honorably discharged in August of 1952. He returned home to Butler County and married Thelma Jenkins, and they had 4 children. Because of his service, the Butler County chapter of the NSDAR is most proud to announce our Veteran of the Year is Bobby Eskew. Let's all stand and give him our gratefulness.
The Green River chapter of the Daughters of the American Revolution is sponsoring our annual Veterans Day Parade. Regent Melanie Hunt will extend a special invitation at this time and recognize the Green River chapter of the Daughters of the American Revolution's Veteran of the Year.
The Green River Chapter, National Society Daughters of the American Revolution, will present their Veteran of the Year award to Michael Lynn Hudnall. This award will be presented at the Veteran Reception held at the Morgantown Elementary School cafeteria immediately after the Veterans Parade. The Veterans Parade begins at 2 o'clock tomorrow, Saturday, November 11th, Veterans Day. Lineup for that parade begins at 1 o'clock if you're still interested and would like to join, or just want to come out and view it, 2 o'clock. Michael Lynn Hudnall was born in Butler County on July 18, 1948, to Harry and Zora Hudnall. He graduated from Butler County High School in May of 1966 and married Jane Sublett Hudnall August 19th of 1966. Mike joined the United States Air Force in March of 1968 and reported to basic training at Lackland Air Force Base in San Antonio, Texas. There he was promoted to Airman E2 before leaving basic training, qualifying as firing expert in all-hand weapons. After schooling at Shepherd Air Force Base in Wichita Falls, Kansas in mid-September of 1968, he received orders for Charleston Air Force Base in Charleston, South Carolina, training on the C-141 with the ocean less than 2 miles away. 8 months later, he received orders for the Elgin Air Force Base, Fort Walton Beach, Florida, as Airman First Class E3. His new orders were for Southeast Asia, 56 Combat Support Special Forces Unit. He made Sergeant E4 the middle of August 1969 and reported for duty at Royal Thai Air Force Base, Nakhon Phanom, Thailand, 6 miles from the Laotian border and the Mekong River. He landed at secret sites all over Vietnam, from Pleiku North to the Ai Shao Valley, also known as the Valley of Death. His work was top secret. No pictures, no talking about jobs, no nothing. Bob Hope visited their base at Christmas one year and said their base was a hot dog stand on the Ho Chi Minh Trail. In September of 1970, he made Staff Sergeant E5 and received orders from McGuire Air Force Base, Wrightstown, New Jersey. He was in charge of 31 men, most of them under 19 years of age, and in the fall of 1971, he received orders for Rehman Air Base in Frankfurt, Germany, in Military Airlift Command. He made Tech Sergeant E6 in February of 1972, and on March 19th of 1972, their son Jeremy was born, and he went back home here to Kentucky. Mike has such an interesting story, and because of his assignment to the Special Forces Unit, he could not go into any more detail about his activities, and the Green River chapter is so proud to award this to him for 2023.
Master Chief Vermillion is originally from Bracken County, Kentucky, and a graduate of Bracken County High School. He and his wife, Lewis, grandchildren Zachary and Emily, reside on a farm in Grayson County, Kentucky. Bill is a graduate of Park University, where he received his Bachelor's of Science in Management and Human Resources, as well as a graduate of American Intercontinental University, which is where he got his Master's of Business Administration. While serving on active duty for 30 years, he served aboard the following commands: USS Voyage, Joint Special Operations Command, Helicopter Anti-Submarine Squadron 3, embarked aboard USS Theodore Roosevelt, Naval Special Warfare Unit 2, Böblingen, Germany, Special Operations Command, Europe's Stuttgart, Germany, USS Briscoe, USS Dayoy, Naval Military Personnel Command, National Security Council, the White House, Headquarters United States European Command, Stuttgart, Germany, Headquarters United States Transportation Command, Eastern Brigade Military Entrance Processing Command, Headquarters Military Entrance Processing Command, and Naval Training Command, Great Lakes, Illinois. Master Chief Vermillion is a graduate of the Army Airborne Parachute School in Fort Benning, Georgia, and a graduate of the Naval Senior Enlisted Academy in Newport, Rhode Island. He has 3 warfare qualifications: enlisted service warfare, enlisted air warfare, and Navy Marine Corps senior parachute jumper. His personal awards include 52 awards and various service and campaign medals. Master Chief Vermillion has completed 10 major deployments at various locations. He is a war veteran and an ordained minister. Bill is a lifetime member of the National Rifle Association, Veterans of Foreign Wars, American Legion, and Kentucky Colonials. Please welcome Master Chief Bill Vermillion.
I can't be restricted. I have to be able to move around. Can you all hear me? All right. First, thank you for that very kind introduction. Appreciate it. But before I get started, I just want to acknowledge a couple groups here. The NJROTC cadets sitting over here, they set this entire gym up. And oh, by the way, today is the United States Marine Corps' birthday. Happy birthday there, Marine. And I want to thank the choir and the band. What a wonderful job they've done. Let's give them a round of applause, please. Now, I've been told to always practice the 3 B's of public speaking: be brief, be brilliant, and then be gone. Now, there's no guarantee that I'll be brilliant, but I will be brief. Mr. Young, he's looking at me. We have to get classes back in session. But again, I want to thank you for that introduction. Fellow veterans, ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests. Today is a great day that we pause, put everything on hold to honor and pay tribute to our American veterans. We honor, remember, and salute the millions of United States veterans who have worn the uniform and continue to wear the uniform. Active, Reserve, National Guard. We thank them for their duty and sacrifice for this country. From 1775 to present time, the American veterans has served our country valiantly, many making the ultimate sacrifice in defense for our great nation. From the father of our country, George Washington, and patriot Nathan Hale, who proclaimed, quote, "I regret that I have but one life to give for my country," end quote. To our present day soldiers, sailors, airmen, Marines, and Coast Guard men that are serving around the world, they have always been there for you and I. Veterans Day is much more than one day set aside to honor our veterans. Hopefully, the impact of this yearly tradition assists in extending the spirit of honor and gratitude throughout the year. One might not believe it to be so important to rely heavily on a day of symbolism like today. But like it or not, it's an important part of our heritage, as often we've seen people just look the other way, not care, not meaning to, but mentally when considering the military. Because you see, once a threat has been distinguished, it's been neutralized, or passes, many Americans tend to forget those that wear the uniform of our nation. I hope that Americans think about the importance of our nation's military and its veterans more than just one day, which is set aside in November. However, even this one day of reflection means a great deal to those who have worn the uniform. For the importance of being appreciated, even if it happens just one day. It's enough. But I'll tell you what, for us veterans having wearing the uniform, that's thanks enough. So what does the American veteran look like? There are sons, our daughters. They're white, they're black, they're Hispanic. They're every race and ethnic heritage. They serve in a very honorable profession. There are men and women. There are Christians. There are Muslims. There are Jews. There are fathers, mothers, sons, brothers, daughters. There are our neighbors. There are our teachers in our schools. There are postal clerks. There are computer programmers. There are factory workers. There are farmers. There are businessmen, businesswomen. There are 26 million Americans living today who have served our great country. And there are more than 1 million who have died in America's wars. Most of these veterans are unsung heroes, ordinary citizens. Their accomplishments have never been chronicled. On November 11th, 1919, President Woodrow Wilson proclaimed that each November the 11th was to be commemorated as Armistice Day. It's a day of remembrance to honor the 116,000 Americans that died in World War I. 2 wars later, our national tradition of honoring veterans began in 1954 as Armistice Day, but it was redesignated as Veterans Day to give it a broader scope of observing and honoring all American veterans, both living and dead, who served with honor, courage, and commitment. At this point, if I may, I ask all veterans to please stand. If you're unable to stand, just raise your hand, please. Now look around. Look around at these veterans and ask yourselves, in which war did they serve? You may be seated. Let's give them a round of applause. You will most likely be able to tell the difference by the wrinkles on some faces and the younger looks of others. Perhaps you can tell by the medals that they might be wearing today. You cannot tell, however, the difference by their devotion to duty and the love they have for America. You cannot differentiate because there is no difference between these veterans. Look into their eyes and they say so much. They're the window to a veteran's soul. Whatever war they served in, you will see the painful expression of fallen patriots, and you'll see the hope and optimism for future peace. Let us look into their eyes. Let us say to our veterans, thank you. Thank you for your service and sacrifice. Thank you for serving our country. We are grateful, and we will never forget. Today, as we look out around this world, we see so much hate. Wars popping up everywhere. But every American, they have that great pride and faith that our nation's veterans from past to present and those in the future will continue to pay those sacrifices to keep you free. To those who served in the Revolutionary War and the Civil War, up through World War I and World War II, to Korea, Vietnam, the Gulf War, the war on terrorism, to small but lethal campaigns across the world, to our present-day battle of terrorism, which we'll continue to fight. From Lexington to Concord, the tradition of the American veteran has sustained us in every war. It has marched with us and stood vigil with us in the frozen camps of Valley Forge, the sweltering jungles of the Pacific, the blood-stained sands on the beaches of Normandy, the scourging heat in Kuwait, Iraq, Afghanistan, places throughout the Middle East. In all these conflicts, young, inexperienced American service members became tough and experienced. They became the American veteran. Just think about this. Young men and women, as you all were, we all were at one time. They put their life on hold. They put their future dreams on hold. Dreams of having a family, dreams of going to school, dreams of owning a business. They put all that on hold for you and I. And some never made it home. Excuse me. Good friend of mine, Paul Darga, EOD Mobile Unit 2, Iraq, was killed. Had a wife, a little girl. She'll never know her daddy. He just depicts of all those other veterans, those men and women that have served, paying that ultimate sacrifice. For no matter where or when our veterans served, they have always served with distinction, like Paul. They knew the loneliness of leaving loved ones behind and the fear of death in a foreign land. all alone, far from home. In serving America, they sweated, they bled, and they agonized. They crawled through mud and rain, waded through malaria-filled swamps and rivers. They often consumed food from a tin can or plastic wrapper we now call the MRE. They forged deep friendships that only brothers and sisters in arms can forge. And they felt deep pain when their brothers and sisters were killed or injured in battle. There's a poem that perhaps you've heard before. I know Commander Phelps has heard this poem at retirement ceremonies. It's been around for some time and often recited at patriotic events. And it's called "My Name is Old Glory." That red, white, and blue that represents who we are, that symbol. No, I'm not going to read the entire poem, but I will recite a few lines. And it goes like this. I am the flag of the United States of America. My name is Old Glory. Look up and see me. I stand for peace. I stand for honor. I stand for truth. And I stand for justice. I stand for freedom. I led my soldiers, sailors, and Marines. I followed them. I watched over them. My name is Old Glory. Dear God, long may I wave. These are just a few words, a few lines. And this was written by a United States Marine who fought from Guadalcanal through many other battles to the end of World War II. And his name is Howard Schnauber. And he later fought in Korea. He was wounded 5 different times, and he lost many brothers in arms. Schnauber's first years of life were spent in an orphanage. He was on his own at the age of 14. While still a teenager, he joined the United States Marine Corps in 1941. Later in life, when he was in his 70s, he remembered his Marine service of 2 wars. Quote, he said, "We saw a lot of things that a human being should not see. The type of things that stay with you, and I cannot forget," end quote. In spite of what Howard endured and lost in his service to America, he loved this country and his flag so much that he had to try to put it down into words. "6 years of war and battle, 5 war wounds, an honorable civilian life with his family, and a heartfelt poem to the American flag that he wrote." One doesn't often hear about veterans like Howard. However, you and I have a country, a land of freedom, a land of opportunity, because of men like him. Today, we honor their memory and their service. My name is Old Glory, dear God, long may I wave. Those words of Corporal Howard Schnauber have the same meaning today as they did then. For every veteran who has ever served, those words mean much to them. The same ideas, the same mission. As long as the stars and stripes fly, American veterans will be with us to keep our country safe and free. Today, we also remember the words of the Supreme Allied Commander and former President Dwight D. Eisenhower. General Eisenhower told troops that were about to invade the beaches of Normandy, he said, quote, "You are about to embark on a great crusade. The eyes of the world are upon you. The hopes and prayers of liberty, loving people, everyone, they march with you," end quote. America is a land of progress. America is a land of hope. America is a land of opportunity. And veterans throughout our history and citizens have combined together for our nation that it is today. Strong and good, prosperous, is what makes America beautiful. As Americans, we can say that the Declaration of Independence signed in 1776 gave birth to the ideas of freedom that millions of people around the world can only dream about. As all veterans that served before us, we resolved to keep the lamp of freedom lit for the next generation and the generations to come. Veterans before us completed their mission, and now we too must continue ours, as it is now and forever will be our democracy. Freedom is not free. Freedom will never be free. It has a high cost of lives, and it affects each and every one of us. Now more than ever, we need the protection and security that only a strong American military can provide. And because of our veterans, we are free. Our service members will maintain our security. They will protect our fellow Americans and ensure our future of freedom. God will continue to bless our veterans in America. I will close here in a moment with just a few words by a man named Edward O'Brien from a poem that he wrote on the Day of Achievement. He wrote, "We carried the torch to the goal is won. Guard the fire, it is yours. But remember, our soul breathes. Our souls breathes through the life that we saved. When our lives went out in the night, your body is woven with our souls. See that the torch stays alight." And I'll leave you with one more. It's a Bible verse. It's in the book of St. John, chapter 15, verse 13. "Greater love has no one than this, that he will lay down his life for a friend." My fellow veterans, I thank you for your service and sacrifice. I thank you for the sacrifice of your family support as well. God bless America and God bless our veterans. Thank you.
Several women in our community, known as the Butler County Peacemakers, come together on a regular basis to work on quotes that they lovingly deliver to veterans. Ms. Darlene Scott, a retired Butler County teacher, helped organize this group and continues to be an active member, as well as others with us today. Together, they design and sew the quilts and present them to veterans who are nominated by people in our community. Would you please stand, or would you please help me welcome Ms. Jennifer Odell, who, along with Darlene Scott, will make the Quilt of Valor presentations.
Thank you. This has been a pleasure for me and Darlene. We started this with her father and my brother. And from there, we're at 217. I don't think that's including today, that we've presented quilts to veterans. So let's get right into this. And we thank the NJROTC for the presentations that they do. Number one, Jeremy Howard, U.S. Air Force. Will you please stand? Steve Lane, U.S. Army. Carl King, U.S. Air Force. Damon Tabor, U.S. Air Force. Denny Chambers, U.S. Army Airborne. Andrew Dodlin, U.S. Army. Mike Hudnall, U.S. Air Force. Robert Bobby Tuck, U.S. Army. Master Chief Bill Vermillion, U.S. Navy retired. Jesse Burden, U.S. Army. James Little Jim Hunt, Jr., U.S. Navy. Stevie Joe Ferris, U.S. Army, U.S. Air Force. Brian Thomas Ferris, U.S. Navy retired. Darrell Ray Williams, U.S. Army. John Warsher, U.S. Army. I want to thank each of these gentlemen for their service. And if you're here and you didn't get your picture made before the ceremony, please see Adam Williams. And we thank Adam very much. This is one of his favorite things to do, is take pictures of veterans. So please go over and get your picture made for them. Huh? And pictures afterwards with your quilts up front here, please. Thank you.
The BCHS band will now perform the Salute to America's Finest, a compilation of theme songs from each branch of service, arranged by Paul Lavender. We invite veterans to stand when you hear the theme song for the branch of service in which you serve.
Did you know that less than 1% of Americans are currently serving in our country in the United States military? That is a staggering statistic. Before we move on in our program, we would like to take just a moment to recognize and thank those family members who have had a member of their family serve in the United States military. First, if you are a veteran here today, would you please stand? Now, if you have a spouse or parent who has served, would you please join our veterans in standing? If you have a family member who is currently serving or who has ever served in the United States military, would you please join them in standing? You may be seated. We will now recognize each veteran in attendance today. Veteran and BCHS faculty member Mr. John Burden will do the honors.
I can do this in the classroom, but I'm a little bit nervous right now. I have a thing to read. It's wonderful to recognize those families who have a history of military service, but it's now time to individually recognize our veterans. This is our way of bringing attention and honor to these national heroes who very seldom draw attention to their service to our country. As I call your name, if you are able, please stand and remain standing until all names are called. We would also ask the audience to hold the applause until all names are called. First, Steve Ferris, U.S. Air Force. Commander Harry Phelps, U.S. Navy. Master Chief Bill Vermillion, U.S. Navy. Marvin Embry, U.S. Air Force. Dean Bartholomew, U.S. Army. Roby Alford, U.S. Air Force. Jesse Burden, U.S. Army. Carl Keller, U.S. Air Force. Darrell Williams, U.S. Army. Doyle Graham, U.S. Army. Carl King, U.S. Air Force. Tommy Wood, U.S. Army. Michael Hudnall, U.S. Air Force. Mikey Ryan, U.S. Army. John Washer, U.S. Army. Ronnie Webster, U.S. Navy. Jeremy Howard, U.S. Air Force. Brian Ferris, U.S. Navy. John Stokes, U.S. Army National Guard. Little Jim, U.S. Navy. Timmy Jones, U.S. Navy. James Cartwright, U.S. Army. Richard Scott, U.S. Army. Gregory Drake, U.S. Army. Steve Lane, U.S. Army. Tim Evans, U.S. Army. Marshall Anderson, U.S. Army. David Martin, U.S. Army. Robert Bobby Tuck, U.S. Army. Brian McKinney, U.S. Air Force. Damon Tabor, U.S. Air Force. Don Jenkins, U.S. Army. Denny Chambers, U.S. Army. Scott Green, U.S. Marine Corps. Preston Miller, U.S. Army. Roy Gabbard, U.S. Navy. Dina Embry, U.S. Army. Mark King, U.S. Army. Michael Elmore, U.S. Army. Ralph Spahn, U.S. Marine Corps. Andrew Doblin, U.S. Army. James Clark, U.S. Navy retired. Sam Hartford, U.S. Army. John U.S. Army. Ellis Gitcomb, U.S. Army. Andrew Gitcomb, U.S. Air Force. Ballard Mattingly, U.S. Air Force. And Daniel Graham, U.S. Air Force. Is there anyone I missed? Jeff Bratcher, Marine Corps. Hayden Cardwell, Navy. Anyone else?
At this time, would you please join me in a moment of silence for our fallen veterans? This is an important time to think about those who are no longer with us. We will have a moment of silence followed by the playing of taps performed by Mr. Anthony Van Vliet. Would you please stand at this time and remain standing throughout the playing of taps? Thank you.
You may be seated. As we close today's program, I would just invite everyone to continue to take, as we leave here today, a heart of gratitude and appreciation for these fine young men and women that are here with us today, or may not even be here with us today, and continue to show that appreciation not only during today, but throughout the whole time of the year. A few reminders. First off, those that received a quilt, please come up to the stage so that we can get a picture of everyone. And then also just a reminder that tomorrow at 2 p.m. there will be a parade here in Morgantown to honor and continue to show support and salutes to our veterans. We would also like to, on behalf of Butler County Schools, invite our veterans and family and any community member that is here with us today as a guest to our library for a short reception that has been prepared by our Butler County High School culinary class under the direction of Miss Ruthie Baker. Again, we appreciate everyone coming today. Hope you have a good rest of the day, and hope to see people tomorrow again at the parade. Thank you.